again?
Well, what I was saying was that the foundation, when you started it, you were pioneers. There was no other organization that was doing anything like what you did. And so many things that you did, other organizations actually have copied because it worked.
Yes, that's true. And it's all because of these original 17 kids, these teenagers that advised Norman, saying what they needed and what they wanted.
So I think one of the things that you would really say to people with an organization is listen to the kids. Because that's what you did.
Yes. And we've done everything. They put on 2 productions of, one was Fiddler on the Roof, and the other one was a Music Man? No, not Music Man. Fiddler on the Roof and The Sound of Music. They put that production on at the foundation, and it was wonderful, wonderful. And what was cute, there was a write-up in one of the local newspapers saying that Tevyev had one black daughter.
But look, in terms of music, how many people that are not sighted are incredible performers, musicians, artists, singers.
They do. We have some wonderful, wonderful musicians and singers, and the kids sang a lot on this trip, on the cross-country trip, and it just won the hearts of everybody. One of the songs was Climb Every Mountain, or I believe, I can't remember, and they came to me one night. They rapped on my door in the hotel, and I opened the door, turned on the light, and they said, "We don't want to sing that song anymore." And why not? It's too mushy, and we don't want to play on the sympathies of other people. And I thought, I have to tell Norman. That would delight him no end. Because he didn't want people to sympathize, and we didn't want to get money just because
But how sensitive of those kids to know that.
Yeah, yeah. But they sensed it, and I think it was I Believe was the song that they didn't want to sing. And I said, that's perfectly all right. And I thought to myself, Norman will be so glad to hear that. Because he didn't want them with a tin cup. That's one thing that he insisted, no
tin cups. I remember that.
Yeah, no tin cups.
Because that was the image of for the blind, was a tin cup and a white cane, and the kids didn't want that.
Well, I think that was also part of the problem with anyone who had any degree of a handicap, was that they couldn't do anything because they had the handicap. And that's quite the contrary.
Yeah.
They actually do more.
And we had enough people we had one old gal who decided she was going to teach the kids tap dancing. So the next day, Norman had 65 pairs of tap shoes. And she was 65 years old, and she was down on her knees working with the feet to show them how to do it. So we had tap dancing, and bicycling, tandem bicycling, and baseball by sound, and archery by sound. We had a little buzzer behind the, what do you call the back of the
home plate?
Yeah. So, but these kids, these 17 kids, are absolutely amazing. They'd say, Norm, this is what we want. And Norman would come through. I have to tell you about Don Galloway. Don lost his sight when he was about 13 in some kind of stupid accident. Wonderful singing voice, wonderful person.
Is that the photograph you have of him?
No, I don't even think I have a picture. He didn't go on the trip with us.
Oh, there was one picture you said of a young fellow that you found out he just these days he just passed on. Okay, sorry.
But Don was a leader in the group, and people just loved him, and he sang a lot. He was first a camper, and then every year the last session was for the teenagers, and we would select somebody to be on the camp staff the following year. So they were presented with the Silver Whistle Award, and one year Don Galloway got it. Well, Don Galloway went a long way. He joined the Peace Corps, and he wound up in Jamaica, heading the Peace Corps in Jamaica. He is black and blind, and he headed it for 12 years.
That's a remarkable story.
Isn't that?
That is remarkable.
And he just recently retired, finally went to Washington, D.C. with his wife, and he was working in housing for the poor, and just recently retired. But whenever he goes on a trip, I get a card from him. He's been to Egypt, he's been to the Caribbean, he's been to the Amazon, and that delights me when the kids let me know that they go traveling, because I encourage the traveling. I always felt that was an important part of living.
Well, you actually encouraged his career as well, because look at what he accomplished.
Yeah.
And it was from having an opportunity to do things and the adventures and which builds.
There's a dozen stories. We just had a camp reunion a couple weeks ago. So many of them came back, and I got a chance. I have it on tape. Somebody taped my talking to all these kids, and they're so glad to tell me what they're doing. They're so proud of it, and it's surprising because Norman passed away 21 years ago, and they haven't forgotten him. And they say if it wasn't for Norman, we don't know where we would have wound up. And there's a bulletin put out, I think it's called the Brailer or something like that, just put out recently. There's a mention of him. Somebody sent it through the mail to me. That same day I also got a report from another, there was a memorial for one of our counselors who passed away, and somebody had written a thing about it's nice to be nice, and this is what Norman always used to say, it's nice to be nice. The kids used to nudge each other and laugh at, what a ridiculous, simple thing and everything. There isn't a kid that doesn't come to me and say, we learned from that. There have been so many occasions when they've had to fall back on that simplistic statement of it's nice to be nice. And this, he's a counselor, he was a counselor, and he wrote a great big article about it's nice to be nice that he learned at camp from Norman. So
you made a statement while I was changing the battery in the tape on the camera about how you worked for the Foundation for the Junior Blind beside your husband as a strict volunteer. You never received any payment, nor did you expect it.
No. There wasn't enough money.
That would have something to do with it.
And sometimes the board would want to increase Norman's salary, and I was teaching school. I felt I was earning money, and the first 2 years we lived on my salary, which was perfectly all right. I have a tape there. The foundation honored me a couple years ago, and they named it the Norman Kaplan Achievement Award. And I have it. Do you want to see it?
Sure.
It's a VHS. You know how to work a VHS? It
Yeah,
would be
I do.
on that TV.
I do.
Okay.
Okay, do you want me to do that?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. It's strobing
50
terribly.
years ago, Norman and Nadia Kaplan and a group of volunteers embarked on a journey, an endeavor that for half a century has changed the lives of tens of thousands of blind or visually impaired youth, adults, and their families. Along with the assistance of volunteers, supporters, and donors, and the tremendous support of the Southern California community, Norman Kaplan, with his energy, dedication, love of children and of camp, and with the support of Nadia, with her creativity, her caring, teaching, organizational skills, and commitment, built the foundation for the junior blind. Their vision, leadership, to provide the recreational, educational, and rehabilitation needs of blind young people everywhere resulted in the evolution of one of our country's finest service agencies for the blind, and a legacy that has and will continue to impact and shape lives forever. Nadia was volunteer numero uno for the foundation during the early 50s. She was a camp director for many years and shared great stories about camp. Led a cross-country trip for 24 teenagers to Washington, D.C., where the youngsters had the opportunity to meet President John F. Kennedy. Nadia was an essential member of the Friday dances, the Recreation Saturday program for children ages 5 through 8, where they enjoyed music, arts, and crafts, gymnastics, even roller skating and drama activities. Nadia, she taught all the roller skating as well. Nadia married Norman in 1942. She's a mother of 2, grandmother, and a great-grandmother. She was a primary school teacher, a photographer, and a published writer. During the 1990s, Nadia was recognized in Who's Who in America and Who's Who in American Women. The board of directors of the foundation, all of whom have been touched by its programs and services, and those who know its good work, recognize and express heartfelt gratitude to Nadia Kaplan for her monumental contributions, her commitment to improving the lives of others, and the influence that she provided to ensure the life and future of the Foundation for the Junior Blind. We are proud to honor Nadia Kaplan with the Norman Kaplan Lifetime Achievement Award. Nadia, please stand.
I want to thank everybody for coming here tonight, today. I want to express my thanks to everyone, but first of all, I'd like to introduce the people at my tables. Foremost, my 2 daughters, Penny and Fawn, my grandsons, Jason and David's wife, Fawn's husband, Jim, because they were volunteers too, and they had all the patience in the world knowing that they were playing second fiddle to a lot of blind children. So this is a tribute to them. I'd like to introduce other people at my tables. One is Rick, and Rick, would you stand up? Rick was in the small fry group, stuck on my lap many times while I listened to my stories. Now I can sit on his. And he grew up to be quite a businessman, very successful businessman. Then there was Eddie from Eddie Holiday, and I have to mention something about Eddie and Norman. Eddie is one of the original 17 people that persuaded Norman that a program for blind young people is needed here in Los Angeles. That Eddie said to Norman, "Hey Norman, a camp up north for 2 weeks isn't enough for us. We need something on weekends to keep us busy." And that's where our program started, with a Saturday program and Friday night dances. So Eddie, would you stand up? He's down there somewhere. And he also on a baby camp. He went with us when we went to Puerto Penasco, when we went to Tahoe study life. He got the Silver Whistle Award, which is presented to a camper, which means it's an invitation to come back as a counselor the following year. And when I was about 8, I'll think of it later. I'd like you to meet Stan Stillman, also at my table. He represents all the wonderful counselors that I've had at camp. I was camp director for 5 or 6 years, I don't even know how long. And he represents the counselors that have gone ahead to do remarkable things in this world. But basically, at the ages of 18, 19 years old, these are tremendous young people with wonderful ideas, creative ideas, and all the exuberancy of youth was remarkable. So Stan represents them. Then there's Essie Hall, also in my group. I see the spotlight on that. All right. She's over there. Essie was with me on a cross-country trip where we spent 10 weeks in an old bus, and we met with Truman, we met with President Kennedy. Can you imagine coming into Washington, D.C. on a police escort? We went to Niagara Falls, we went to caves, 3 different caves. We went exploring in a coal mine. We spent time on the farm where the kids drove tractors. We went to Grand Canyon and Yellowstone National Park. We went dancing on the Mississippi River on a showboat. Saw Indian Mountains in Indiana. Did Boston and New York City, which was wonderful. And then there's Ken Morgan. Ken Morgan is a special friend to me, and I can never say enough about him. He is the poster boy of the blind are also colorblind. And he's been a friend of mine for all these years. When Norman passed away, every few days he would call to see if I needed something. And if it was something electronic, he'd come over to fix it for me. He was Norman's right-hand man up at the foundation. He was the DJ for Friday night dances, chose all the music. He worked at camp in the kitchen, organizing that, and a young man with a multiple number of abilities. I want to did I cover all the kids? Essie, I guess I did. I want to call attention to that first board, that they should have brought their friends over to see conditions that we have a program in. A decrepit old building. It was old when we rented it, but our budget for the first year was $5,000. And it covered a hell of a lot. And on that first board, there was the 2 Seymours, there was Don Green, there was Sheldon Pollock, there was Del Scott, wonderful, wonderful people. They weren't embarrassed to bring their friends and say, hey, this is my project. Thank goodness they stayed with us and saw the progress, and it was because of them things went. I want to give thanks to the freelancers. The first group, they recognized the possibilities of the foundation, gave us our first $5,000 grant, and that's what we survived on the first year. Then the health aides came in, the Valley Hill for children, the guiders, a lot of groups came in to help. I want to give thanks to all the volunteers. There must have been well over 100,000 in all these years that have given drivers, teachers, fundraisers, remarkable number of people that were so helpful. So I'm thanking all of them. And from myself, I say, Norman, thank you for leading the way.
I walked better then. No. I think that's it.
Okay.
Not the Jersey Boys, the History Boys. I think it's called the History Boys. He got an award for that. And suddenly I got a letter. I hear from them at Christmas time. Carol writes a big long letter of what they're doing. He suddenly has given it all up. He's tired of Broadway, and I'm trying to remember what he's doing now. But he still is with Save the Children.
That's wonderful. That is so
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So the gift keeps giving.
Yeah.
It's when once you learn that, I think there's something, oftentimes when people think I'm crazy for wanting to do this, and I'm sure people to other
Also,
people.
like Lou Sitzer was one of the three that I had on the cross-country trip. He was a counselor at camp the year before. And what he has done has been remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. After the trip, he went to Mississippi to register voters. He went to Vietnam and Laos and worked with the people digging wells and everything. He didn't come from a background of how to dig a well. He learned how to dig a well. He spent several years there in Laos and Vietnam. Then he went to Romania and worked in the schools for teaching American English. I mean, not American, but an American school. And he established programs there. He established something like what's the most famous fundraising thing here?
Jerry Lewis's the
No,
telephone?
not Jerry Lewis's.
The March of Dimes, or
Not March of Dimes, but it's something like March of Dimes. So he started something there, came back, and he lives in Nevada City now. Went back to teaching because he was teaching. And now he retired from teaching, and he's program director on a PBS program. And he credits Norman for motivating him.
that is incredible. That is just incredible.
And he's put it in writing, he has said it.
Yes.
Don Galloway the same way. There was a big article in the Jamaica paper about Don, and they sent me his wife sent me a copy of it, and I don't know where the heck it is. There has been so much stuff on the foundation, and the new people that came in start burning everything up, throwing everything away.
Oh.
So what I have is, I hold on to. He was having problems. They live in Lakewood. It wasn't like he was living next door and could come and help me. Now I know if it should happen again, I could call the fire department, but it never occurred to me at that time.
Oh, was that when we had those torrential rains?
Yeah. Oh,
11 straight days?
5 or 6 years ago.
Yes. Well, I was living in Silver Lake then.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
just awful.
And
And I came downstairs to get a snack, didn't realize what was happening.
Oh.
So suddenly I'm bailing water out. First I put little pans, and I realized that wasn't enough, and I had big carts in the garage, so I dumped what I had in there and put it in here, and I put it under the drips, and they would fill, and I'm bailing it out. Then I thought, that's stupid. I have a cart with wheels. I could dump it outside, but it took me hours before I realized I could do that. Here I am in a nightgown, a full-length nightgown. I'm getting all wet. My hair is straightened out. I'm dripping and everything. Oh, it was a nightmare.
that was a nightmare time.
Oh.
But to experience that by yourself,
Yeah.
that had to
Yeah.
be really, really frustrating.
So we did lots of remodeling. We put all this in here, for our book, for our books.
My God, this is so great.
Do you believe it?
How deep is that? How deep? Plenty deep.
Well, 14 by 14. 14 feet by 14 and 4.5 feet deep.
I need to cool off and just get some exercise
Yeah.
and relax.
Well, I used to do it more often, not now, because they say at this age you shouldn't go swimming alone.
Well, it's true. It's true.
So,
Yeah, be on the safe side. It's a lovely space.
Well, when it heats up, I'm going to call her up and say, I'm coming up for a swim.
straighten up. I find myself leaning over
Oh,
like a little old lady. I don't like being old,
oh, I don't either.
and there's nothing I can do about it.
Well, you're the youngest old, I know.
I've held off pretty long, but the last 2 years have been real rough on me.
Is that map with the yarn on it a portrayal of all of your travels?
Well, I didn't get everything up there. I haven't gotten all of it.
How many countries have you been in?
How many what?
Countries have you been in?
90.
90 countries.
Fabulous.
Some of the paintings are from the travels. Some are from good friends.
And you have a collection over here of little houses. Did you pick these up on your trips? She can't, I guess she can't hear me.
Have stuff from Greece. I think Greece.
Where did these guys come
So you picked these up from all over the world, these little houses?
The houses?
Yes.
Yes, I find them as I was writing the book. Why, whenever I could snatch up a house, I would snatch up a house wherever I went. Collected boats for little boys in my kindergarten class, because I had the dolls for the girls. I had to do something for the boys, so I'd collect boats for them.
Cute.
This is from Kota Kinabalu.
Okay, the painting I'm focused on now is from where?
Kota Kinabalu,
Kota Kinabalu, and that is where again?
Borneo.
Borneo.
Uh-huh.
You've been in 90 countries. It's amazing. Now, this is the little trophy room. It's Nadia calls it her den, and the walls are covered with commendations for the junior blind, and there are different. There's some nice pictures of you and Norman over here. I'm going to go up close on, but from the city of Los Angeles.
And
From the
there's
state.
a poster. The blind are also colorblind.
I'm going in on that one.
Yeah, focus in on that one.
It's very sweet. The blind are also colorblind, it says down here. Let's see if I can get in close on it. Sweet.
That's when I was younger. And then straight ahead is from Kennedy. Did Norman an autograph picture when Norman met with him.
I'm working my way over there. I want to get the picture of you two here looking very glamorous.
That's beautiful. Just beautiful. Great smile.
Let's see if I can get on that without falling over.
Yeah.
Lots of awards.
Such wonderful work. Wonderful work.
Well, it's nice that
Either from the Nixon White House, Ford.
Nixon. Nixon was in office from 68
all right.
until he got kicked out in 75 or 6. It must be, well, he must have been embroiled with dirty tricks because he forgot to sign it.
No. And you recorded all of this?
and this is a former Rose Queen with her daughter. Her daughter was in my kindergarten class. And so she did it as a publicity. Oldest one now.
Now, who
that you
did
see.
this?
Rose Queen. Her name was don't remember.
All right, this is a picture of you with your young daughters, Penny and Fawn. Which one is
and
Penny?
Fawn. Penny is the younger.
On the left, and Fawn is on the right.